Let's move on to part 2, air pressure and wind system on page 203, 204 and 205. Now we move on to unequal heat distribution from the equator to poles. You know that the shape of the earth is spherical in shape. That is the reason different part of the earth receive different amount of heat energy from the sun. During daytime, that is in the afternoon, the sun ray is directly falling on the equator because the sun is over our head during daytime. So the sun heat will fall on the equator directly. Thus, the soil in the equator region gets warmed, which in turn warms the atmosphere, that is air. So what will happen? This air, warm air, rises up and thus creating low pressure area. So at the same time, at this polar region, the air is denser than the air which is rising from the equator region. The poles, we are having high pressure area, and thus air blow from high pressure area from the pole towards the equator, from both the poles towards the equator. But one thing we have to remember that wind move from pole area, that means northern pole, that high pressure area to low pressure area towards the equator. But here is a condition that according to Ferrell's law, when they move from higher air region to lower air pressure region, little deflection in their path occurs. That means deflection of this wind occurs because of some force, frictional force occurs in the earth. Since earth rotates from west to east, there is little deflection of the path of the wind blow. In the northern region, it deflects towards its right of its path of motion, and in the southern hemisphere, the wind moves towards the left, little left deflection it shows from the path of its motion. As a result of this rotation of earth, the wind normally blow from north to south is deflected towards the west in the northern hemisphere. This deflection is because of rotation of earth on its axis from west to east. Such effect is called Coriolis effect, which was discovered by Ferrell. Such a effect is zero at the equator. There is no deflection in the wind direction at the equator, but in the northern region and southern poles, such a deflection of wind path can be seen. In North Pole, northern hemisphere, the wind deflect towards the west, and in the southern hemisphere, the wind deflect towards the east, according to Ferrell. The uneven heating of land and water causes land breeze and sea breeze. During daytime, land gets heated very soon, and the air over the land gets heated, and in turn it rises up because of less density. It is less denser, so it rises up. At the same way, the wind, heavy wind from the water bodies move towards the land. Since the wind is blowing from the water body to the land, it is called sea breeze. It takes place during daytime. But a reverse occurs in land breeze. Land breeze occurs at night. At night, air over the land is cool, so it leads to high pressure. Whereas air over the water bodies gets warmer than the air on the land body. So what happened? The high pressure area land, this air is moved towards the low pressure area water bodies. Since the wind blows from land to water, then it is called land breeze. It occurs during night time. Only one thing you have to remember, that cool air always having high pressure area, whereas warm air faces low pressure area. This word you remember, cool air, high pressure. Cool air possesses high pressure. Same thing we are going to apply. The same principle is going to apply on monsoon wind. In summer, land masses of Asia, mainly in Asia, land gets hot because it is extreme summer. So what happens? It creates low pressure area. Whereas the air over the water bodies creates high pressure area because that air is cooler than land air. Air over the water body is cooler than the air over the air over the land bodies. So wind blows from zone of high pressure to zone of low pressure area. Over the Indian Ocean, what is that? There is a zone of high pressure area. So wind blow from moist wind. That means this wind carries huge amount of moisture from the water bodies, which create monsoon cloud over the Indian Ocean, and this high pressure zone air is moved towards the Indian subcontinent. During the winter season, Indian subcontinent becomes very cold. I told you very cold means to create high pressure zone. But Indian Ocean water area creates low pressure zone. Now the wind is blowing from land towards the sea. So if the wind is blowing from land, then it might be dry air. That is dry wind blow towards the sea, which carries less amount of water, hence bringing small amount of rain during winter in the southern part of India. But the wind which blow from the Indian Ocean, that carries more amount of moisture from the water bodies. Such wind brings rain to India. Now let's see the difference between breezes and monsoon wind. In breezes, land and sea breezes occur in limited area, that means around the coastal areas, whereas monsoon wind affect the whole country. It blows for few hours, breezes blows for few hours daily, and this monsoon wind is a seasonal wind which blow for months at a time. Breezes occurs during day and night, that is wind flow from sea to land or land to sea. But a monsoon wind, it blow from ocean to land and land to ocean. In land breeze, land to sea, it occurs at night. Sea breeze, it occurs during day. The same way, ocean to land wind blows during summer, and land to ocean, the monsoon wind blows during winter. Breezes has a moderating influence on the temperature of coastal areas, but monsoon wind brings heavy rain in summer